Welcome to Our Devil. Today we are taking a look at r/am I the antagonist. Our first story is from Amy the antagonist 46. Am I the antagonist for not letting my elder daughter have my younger's wedding dress? Names have been changed. I'm 55 and Amelia is 32. My husband and I have 2 daughters. Opal and Amelia. Opal and her fiancé Jack passed away 4 years ago. Her wedding dress had been bought and my baby never got to wear it. I kept the dress. I don't look at it much anymore. But it's just one of those things that remind me of her. And also Jack, who I viewed as my son. Amelia is getting married to Liam. She asked me if she could have Opal's dress. She said she loves the style/design and wants to tweak it a bit to better match her tastes. I said no. Amelia told me that Opal didn't wear it so no one's seen it. And I can't keep it in a corner gathering dust forever. I've insisted no multiple times and that Amelia can get her own dress. Maybe similar to Opal's design, but she can't have this one. Amelia said life is for the living and I'm making things harder for her. She offered to pay and buy it from me, but I still refused. It seemed like Amelia understood. But this past weekend our family and Liam's family went to dinner. His mom pulled me aside and said that Amelia is upset about this whole thing and the wedding. Planning is already difficult, so I could compromise and make it a bit easier for her by giving her the dress. Now I'm thinking if I really am being unreasonable? My husband thinks I'm in the right, but some third-party opinions would be nice. Comment by the Shinny Glitter. Not the antagonist. It would be one thing if she were talking about how it makes her feel connected to her sister. A way to make her sister's presence felt at the wedding. A special remembrance. Etc. That's not what she said. She even wants to change the dress. It sounds to me like she thinks it's a convenient way to save $. Comment by Vrindam. Not the antagonist if she's willing to buy Opal's dress from you. Why can't she go buy a brand new dress? Comment by Finsterness86. Wow. Not the antagonist. That dress means a lot to you and it's your decision if you want to let Amelia use it or not. It's also not mother-in-law's place to involve herself in something between you and your daughter. Our next story is from Revolutionary Alien. Am I the antagonist for keeping a massive secret from my parents? My parents, F66 and M70, and I, F32, have had a bit of a strained relationship since I was young. My sister was always favored while I was treated as the maid. Which is why I left home as soon as I could. Over the years, our relationship has had its ups and downs. But I would never describe our family dynamics as being particularly normal or healthy. I married my husband, M36, when I was 23. And my parents just about hit the roof. They have never really taken a shining to him and threatened to disown me if I went through with the marriage. When he and I would visit their home, he is subject to the same expectations as I am. Whereas my sister gets to put her feet up and relax. Needless to say, my husband does not hold my parents in particularly high regard. My parents emigrated overseas about 10 years ago. And my husband and I have only seen them 3 times in person since. We do chat over FaceTime/Zoom semi-regularly. But the relationships all function better if we aren't breathing down each other's necks. Recently, my husband and I bought our first house and we are over the moon. We plan on growing our family. And we now have the space, and the garden, to do so. I am beyond thrilled. My parents are kept on a strict information diet and we did not tell them that we had bought, mostly because they are renting a storage unit not far from us. And we did not want the drama of my parents wanting, expecting, to store all of their furniture in our new house. We also did not tell them that our new house is much more spacious than our old place. As far as my parents are aware. We just moved because it is closer to my husband's job. Unbeknownst to me, my parents have been in the country for about a month and ran into a childhood friend, D female 34, of mine yesterday. D told them that I had invited her to coffee today. And it would be so lovely if they came with her and surprised me. D had no way of knowing that I had not told my parents about the spacious new house until they all walked through the front door and my mom lost her mind at me. The main points from my mom's yelling was that our relationship has been good recently, so how could I have kept this secret from them? My husband and I were selfish to have all this space with no regard for the fact that they are renting a storage unit. And that my parents are hurt I don't include them in all parts of my life. Unfortunately, my husband arrived home not long after the tirade started and he told them to stop making a scene under his roof. That is when the other shoe dropped that we had bought instead of rented. Ultimately my parents left after telling me that a true daughter would never keep secrets like this. And I am left feeling like everything could have been avoided if we had told them from the beginning. To be frank, though, I honestly never expected them in my house. They do not have the address and they live overseas. Comment by JustMeat23. Their reaction demonstrated that your fears were justified. Rather than being happy for you, they were miserable for themselves. Comment by Samantha Sophia. I know this is kind of like comparing apples and oranges. But personally I find it hilarious that your parents have been in the area seemingly without your knowledge for a month. But they're also mad that you haven't told them everything. I mean, it's kind of funny. Also, my vote equals not the antagonist. Comment by NEVYN57. Not the antagonist. You didn't inform your parents of the purchase for all of the reasons that proved to be true. All they wanted was to use you as a storage facility. Because someone is family. We shouldn't feel obliged to have them as closest friends too. They become that by being friends first, not family. Our next story is from Sarah Jake 2022. Am I the antagonist flipping out on my fiancé for canceling all the vegan food options from our wedding food menu behind my back? My fiancé, 31 male, and I, 25 female, are getting married soon. There wasn't much that disagreed on during the wedding planning except for food. Me and my family are vegans. And there's so many reasons why we chose this lifestyle, and one of them being that we have a history of health issues. My fiancé and his family are the complete opposite. They're hardcore meat eaters, which is fine by me obviously. However, when deciding on the wedding food menu, I wanted to add 4 to 5 vegan options. My fiancé and his mom objected, saying it was a waste of money over food that isn't real food. They also argued that this would be offensive for their guests and suggested my vegan options just be the good old salads and appetizers. His mom wanted cupcakes, lol. I said no because for one it's me and my family who's paying. And two, I want to make my guests feel welcome and not be treated as second-class citizens by being served salad. My fiancé made a face and said, "Isn't that what vegans eat?" I refused to argue about it and said it was final. The other day, I found out that he had cancelled all the vegan options and took them off the menu completely and behind my back. I was seething. I called him at work but he kept hanging up on me. I went straight to his workplace and confronted him there and just flipped out on him. He was stunned to see me. He at first said it was his mom's idea, then told me to go home because I was making a scene at the office. The fight continued at home and he defended himself by saying that I sort of made him resort to doing this after I kept brushing off his thoughts and input. And refusing to accommodate his family. But there were plenty of meat options, why can't I get 4 to 5 vegan options? When I'm paying for it. He yelled that it was his wedding too, not my family's. My family said it was fine and they'll figure it out and told me to let it go, but I refused. Am I the antagonist for putting my foot down on this? Update. So his mom messaged me earlier to try to get me to listen to what she had to say after I kept ignoring her phone calls. She spent long walls of text just to address what I did at her son's workplace. Calling it all kinds of stuff from immature to unhinged. She then went to explain how she's noticed that me and my family kept acting dismissive of her son's input and contributions to the wedding. She said that she noticed my behavior towards him and her entire family and wanted to speak up earlier but didn't and tried to keep the peace. She then went on to address the food menu issue and denied her involvement in the cancellation of the vegan option, but that didn't mean she doesn't support her son's decision. Moreover, she thought it was so responsible of him to make that move because of my continual refusal to see how this stuff is waste of money. She also pointed out how I kept saying, I paid for it, and said that technically this isn't just my money. It's mine and his because we're getting married. She suggested I wisen up and get rid of my money. I paid for it mentality. She finally mentioned how bad this whole situation is making me look. And said that she and her son had already offered a number of compromises that I chose to brush off and decided to make it my weird hill to die on. She said that not only her son is upset but she and the family are as well after hearing about it, and suggested I just agree on their compromise and be done with it. This pissed me off beyond belief. I responded by letting her know that I'm still standing my ground on this, even if I'll have to call the whole wedding off because of it, because honestly, this is just ridiculous. My mom and dad, they don't even know what to say anymore. Apparently. My fiancé saw my response to her, he's with her, and is now trying to call me, but right now I'm waiting on him to get home and see if he's still insisting on the stance he took. I'll update if there's anything worth adding after we talk. Comment by Armchair Shrink 99. Not the antagonist. You sure you want to marry someone who's so rude and dismissive and ruled by his mother? Comment by Constant Apartment 08. Definitely not the antagonist. Not only are you the one paying for the food, but a wedding is something you plan as a couple. He felt like your and your family's well-being during the catering wasn't as important as his. Comment by Hold Fast 02. Not the antagonist. So, he 1. Has no clue what vegans actually eat. And no interest in learning. Believes having food for your family is offensive to theirs. While having no food for your family is perfectly fine. Doesn't respect your input and your money. Makes decisions about matters important to you behind your back. Either can't stand up to his mom or uses her as his scapegoat. That's a lot of things to be really angry about. Why are you marrying this guy again? Our next story is from Double Ad 6415. Am I the antagonist for asking my guests to pay $10 to come to my wedding? My fiancé, 23 male, and I, 23F, are getting married in less than a month. We are doing a small wedding and only inviting 20 guests. We decided we wanted to have our wedding up in a canyon. But to access this canyon it costs $10, so we're having our guests pay the $10 to enter the canyon. We put this canyon fee on our invitations. My sister called today as she had just received her invite in the mail and was mad about having to pay to attend a wedding. She called me an a-hole because I was being a cheapskate, and there are thousands of canyons that won't have a fee. But me and my fiancé already have our hearts set on this specific canyon in view. As the argument went on, she started to nitpick our whole wedding plan. Having the guests bring their own camping chairs. Not having a real reception, just a small dinner for those who attended, and posting our registry all over social media, but only having 20 ppl actually be invited. We don't want to spend a lot of money, and so doing it outdoors is one way of doing that. We also just want our close intimate friends and families to be there, so I don't know what's wrong with keeping it small. To those who will ask, it's a canyon fee you have to pay at the base, so it's not like we could just pay the park rangers in advance and just say this should cover it. It's open to the public. So am I the antagonist? Info/update. 1. No. It is not in a national park. It's just a canyon near our hometowns. We talked to the rangers, Forest State Park. I don't know why you call them. They said it was fine as long as we didn't go over 100 people. I didn't realize posting your registry to social media was such a faux pas. Everybody posts everything nowadays online, and many people, who already knew they weren't invited, had asked me about the registry, so I posted it. Yes. We talked to the rangers. We asked them if we could buy passes or slips or give them a list of names ahead of time in order to pay for our guests. But none of those solutions worked. We decided informing our guests that there would be a $10 fee as a heads-up would be the best way to go. I guess we should have been more creative, but we already sent out the invites. So there goes 1/2 the suggestions. We are taking some of the other ones under advisement. When we said small dinner, we were referencing the size of the after party or lack thereof. No reception, not the amount or quality of the food. But thanks again for your judgment. I accept the judgment that I am antagonist, but 23 is not that young to be getting married. It wasn't about the money. It was about the logistics, and none of this has any bearing on if my marriage will succeed or fail. You don't know our relationship, so please stop. Peas. Also, it might just be a cultural thing because 2 people guessed Utah/Southern Utah and we are from there, so maybe it's all just cultural. Comment by Friendly Vast 2077. I got married at a park that had an entrance fee. We included a card with the invitation that our guests could present at the park to be allowed in. We put a deposit at the gate to cover their parking charges. And they calculated the actual amount due based on the cards they collected. It's not that difficult. Don't charge your guests. You are the antagonist. Comment by Ball Brewing. You are the antagonist. For posting your registry all over social media but only having 20 people invited, that's not normal, folks. People who don't come to your wedding shouldn't be expected to give you gifts. Comment by Prairie Islander. You are the antagonist. This sounds cheap and tacky. Especially posting your registry on social media when you're only inviting 20 people. And then making them pay to attend and schlep their own chair down into a canyon. Just elope. What sounds like a cute little ceremony to you will be a talking point for people for years. And not in a good way. Oh my God. Remember when Sarah and Nathan got married and we had to pay to go hiking with a chair? Exclamation mark. And then they posted their registry online? Exclamation mark. Like great Auntie Susan is gonna buy them a Le Creuset when she wasn't even invited? Thank you for watching. If you enjoy this video, smash the like button, and subscribe to our Devil. See you in the next one.